favorite part of my job is when I get to introduce the stars of the show. You know, we have all the elements of a great night of boxing. It's a triple header, a spectacular main event, the hottest division in boxing, without a doubt. Traditionally, as I said before, it's a glamour division in boxing. And we have two fighters, when you look at their numbers, they knock people out. And this is what brings people to the HBO screen. It's what puts the asses in the seats, as they like to say. It's what fight fans, promoters, sports writers all want to see. Guys that know how to fight, guys that have technique, that have skills, that have talent, and knockout power. And on top of that, you're gonna be listening to a couple of real gentlemen here at the microphone that seem to have the ability that when the bell rings, they're not the nice guys that you're about to see here in front of the microphone. They're both fighters with the will to win. First, let me bring up to the microphone. He's officially listed as the challenger. I like to think of him as an uncrowned champion. As I said before, I saw him in a championship fight that I really thought, and many people that were there thought he won. 29 victories, only 4 defeats. 20 of his 29 victories by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the challenger for the WBA Middleweight Championship of the World, Matthew "Mac the Knife" Macklin.
Yeah, Mac! Yeah, Mac!
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Just wanted to thank a few people before, to start with, really, and that's, I'll start with my team. My promoter, Lou Bella, who, yeah, Ozzy Osbourne definitely wouldn't have a patch on. My manager, Brian Peters, you know, everyone at Bella Entertainment, Tomas Rowan, who helps Brian out a lot. I want to thank Peter Nelson of HBO and everyone, Ken Hirschman, Kerry Davis at HBO also for making the fight happen. I want to thank Tom Loeffler at K2 and Gennady for accepting the challenge. Yeah, I mean, when the fight got put to me, like Brian said, I said, sure, no problem. I mean, initially, I wanted to fight in June as a tune-up fight and then to fight Gennady September, October, but, you know, I'm not the kind of person to turn down world title shots, and I can't believe that anyone would do that. So, for me, to go after the shot at the middleweight championship of the world, to turn it down is just ludicrous. Especially when, you know, I've always wanted to be involved in the big fights. I want to be champion. It's another shot at the world title. Felt I should have already been WBA middleweight champion when I fought Felix Sturm over in Cologne in Germany back in, I think, actually it was the last Saturday of June in 2011. So that's a bit of an omen there. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the fight. You know, Gennady's got a lot of hype around him at the minute. He's 26-0, 23 knockouts. Like Brian said, he's at the highest knockout ratio in boxing at the moment, I think, and is it something like 124 years in the middleweight division, which, you know, that's pretty spectacular. You know, his last fight he knocked Shida out cold in 3 rounds, someone who'd never been stopped, been 12 rounds with Dimitri Pirak. But, you know, the other thing is, you know, Gennady's fighting me, who has 20 knockouts in 29 fights, and I'm by far the biggest puncher he's fought. So, you know, that's obviously something that will be in his mind, something that'll be in my mind also, and something that, you know, I think will be a factor in the fight. I don't think he's just going to be able to walk in on me the way he has done against some of his, you know, past opponents. You know, and the middleweight division, like Brian mentioned and Michael said as well, you know, when you look at the heyday of the middleweight division of the 40s and 50s, you had Rocky Graziano, Tony Zale fighting each other in rematches and trilogies, and Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta and all those great fighters. And even the Leonard, Duran, Hagler, Hearns era, you know, they're the fights that are still spoken about today. They're legendary. They just have legendary status now, and they're the fights I want to be involved in. You know, first and foremost, I want to fight for the world title, I want to win the world title, but I also want to be involved in the biggest and the best fights I can be. And I think Golovkin is, you know, he ticks all those boxes. You know, I first was aware again at Gennady in 2000. We both boxed in the World Junior Championships in Budapest. He got fired at the tournament. So I thought, you know, I'm going to look out for this guy because I think our paths will cross one day. I fought at the weight above. Always thought our paths would cross in the amateurs, but I turned pro a year later. He had a drawn-out long amateur career, so you know, it's funny how things happen, but here we are 13 years later and we're fighting for the middleweight championship of the world. But like I say, great fighter. Can't talk bad of him as a fighter and can't talk bad of him as a person either. He seems like a gentleman, and you know, credit to him for everything he's done in his career so far. And I do believe he will go on and achieve more and achieve all the things that everyone says he will do. But he is going to lose first, and he'll probably be a better fighter because of it. And this fight reminds me a lot of the Trinidad Bernard Hopkins fight, when you had you know, the knockout specialist, undefeated guy, ploughing through everyone in Felix Trinidad, and he fought a guy like Bernard Hopkins who had a couple of losses, but you know, learned from his losses, come back better, was seasoned, hard and professional. And you know, during that fight he outthought, outmaneuvered, out-hustled, out-punched, and eventually knocked out the supposed knockout specialist in Felix Trinidad. And that's exactly what's going to happen on June 29th.
Thank you, Matthew. I'd like to bring up the champion at this time. 26-0, 23 KOs, the highest knockout ratio of any active fighter competing right now in the world, and I believe the highest knockout ratio in the history of middleweight champions, world middleweight champions. An Olympic silver medalist. He's gaining more and more respect and acknowledgement among fight fans around the world, and I think last night was an example of the type of recognition that he gets. And we were out to dinner together, and Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan were in the same restaurant, and you know, I went over and said hello, and told them that Gennady was there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we've seen that guy on HBO. Yeah, bring him over." You know, when you get recognition by, you know, all of their athletes love boxing. There's no doubt about it, and they recognize the fact that it's mano a mano. It's just one guy in there. It's not a team sport. You got to, you know, the bell rings, and all the training you've done, and your coach is in your corner, and you have to walk out to the middle of the ring. And have two of the greatest NBA players, and probably one of the greatest athletes in the history of all sports, and Michael Jordan, you know, recognize you and acknowledge that you're somebody that they admire and respect as an athlete is pretty spectacular. So let me bring him up to the microphone at this time. Once again, just like Matthew, this is one nice guy, one real gentleman, but two fighters that when the bell rings, they're going to try to knock each other out. Ladies and gentlemen, the WBA Middleweight Champion of the World, Gennady Triple G Golovkin.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I'm happy to come back in New York, in HBO. Special thank you so much, HBO. You know, I'm happy to stay here. Thank you very much, Mr. Lido, your team. Thank you. I respect you. You best challenger for me right now. I understand my situation. I understand. Thank you very much, your team. You know. Thank you very much, my team, my promotion, Tom. You know, I think very difficult fight for us. Very big fight for us, because look at him. I see same size, same power, same speed. I remember fight with Sergio, very close fight. I know I understand my situation. This is very good fight for us. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.